to talk about KOLs, which again is another hot word in this space, because now we have these KOLs. Yesterday we had influencers. So my very first question, first of all, is to introduce a bit yourself and why you are seated here on this stage to talk about this topic.
Hi everyone, I'm Ksenia. I'm currently marketing advisor at Worka, but I've been in the space for over 4 years now, working with different projects of varying scale. And obviously, KOLs comes as a topic for all of them, especially because I'm mentoring accelerators and new protocols always need more visibility and more brand awareness. So KOLs are one of the questions.
Hi, I'm Christina. I'm the CMO of Cookie3. We are the Google Analytics for Web3, so including on-chain analytics. And recently we've launched KOL Intelligence, which is analytics of what KOLs are posting. It's in beta right now.
Hi, I'm Asaf. I'm one of the founders of Addressable. We have a Web3 marketing platform that is combining data about wallet owners from the blockchain and about their social profiles and what they're doing off chain. We're typically looking at KOLs go through collecting intelligence about wallet owners and who influences them in the real world when people are trying to build a strategy, both for paid ads for KOLs and others. And we also have a full attribution system in which people that are running KOLs campaign, ads campaign, and others are trying to measure how well is KOLs working compared to other strategies.
Hi everyone, I'm Estefano. I'm the founder of Kaika. We're a Web3 KOL agency. We just do KOLs. We work with companies, blue chip names, the Kraken, and a lot of smaller names that are pre-seed and seed funded. Yeah, we do.
Cool, thank you guys. So the very first question that I think it's relevant to make is what actually is a key opinion leader? What does it mean in your opinion? Who wants to start? Yeah.
Should I go first? So to me, a key opinion leader is someone who has domain authority over a certain topic. So for example, in the extreme example, you could take Vitalik. He's has a lot of domain authority over dev work and that sort of stuff. And I like to sort of take the difference from KOL to influencer. An influencer is like more of a personality type of person. So your meme KOL, meme KOLs, for example. And yeah, that's what I would do. That's how I would categorize them, is domain authority, basically.
I would add to that is that they also have an audience. It's important to have an opinion, but if nobody's listening to you, then nobody cares about that. So in addition to having a very foreign opinion and being an authority within your domain, you need to have people listening to you for you to be considered as a key opinion leader.
And what's then next question for the girls? What's then the difference between a key opinion leader and an influencer?
All right, this is exactly what I wanted to start my answer with, that you need to differentiate between an influencer and key opinion leader. Obviously, key opinion leader can be an influencer, but people usually think about influencers as people that have huge following, people who are content creators. First of all, key opinion leader doesn't have to be a content creator. Like politicians are key opinion leaders, we follow them. They're not content creators, they're not influencers. And then I 100% agree with what you guys said just now. It's a person who can influence. So I know we're in a room full of marketers, and I know there are some key opinion leaders in marketing, like Emily who's sitting here, or Xenia or Claire that just spoke about. I think everyone follows them here, or like if you don't, you probably should. And then, for example, like I'm influenced by you guys. Like if you post about a product, like I'm going to go and trial it. It's not a paid ad with you, but I am. So you're influencing all of us here, and you're key opinion leaders, and not all of you necessarily have a huge following, but you are really influencing how we are making decisions, and it can be applicable to any industry.
I agree with everything that was said, but to be honest, I never draw a divide between key opinion leaders and influencers. Because I think what's interesting, especially in crypto, in the current cycle, is that previously we called key opinion leaders like people with the audience, like we divided them based on the size of their audience. Now I think there's a lot of emphasis on micro KOLs or even like nano KOLs that are even smaller, which obviously comes from like the Web2 marketing. But I think basically anyone can be a key opinion leader. It just depends like what niche you're looking at.
Yeah. So my next question is um, a personal actually curiosity that I have for you guys. It's then if Emily is and I agree is an influencer, right, and also a bit a key opinion leader, but she doesn't want to be paid uh to post, okay? So how the KOLs could be a good like a true and yeah, an efficient and effective marketing channel if people like Emily doesn't want to be paid, and so you know
That's an amazing question because I would love to for Emily, for instance, to tweet more about it,
exactly.
right? But she's not going to take my money,
I'm
right?
not trying to say.
But that's exactly the question. So we're always trying to think like as B2B companies, as agencies, the KOLs that you're looking for are typically not the
Yeah.
influencers that would show.
Yeah.
These are not B2C.
Yeah.
What I believe in, and Emily can tell you if I'm hitting on the right spot, right, is if you understand what that person cares about, what's the content that they're looking to promote, and you're able
Yeah,
to give them
I agree.
value to provide their audiences with, it can be alpha, it can be early access, it can be data, then you might find an arrangement which is still it's not a mouthpiece for your business. It doesn't look like advertisement. It's not like you're dictating um, what you're providing. But if you're able to build a mutual relationship that is benefiting both sides, and that can give them.
So it's more partnership than KOS, or almost, right? Because we called it, but before Stefano was you and I were talking, and you were telling me that managing KOS is not just managing KOS, but it needs to go beyond. So you need to create a relationship, right? Yeah. So you wanted to? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add on this that I 100% agree with what you said. And then that's also sort of building up upon influencer and key opinion leader. Influencer are mostly people that will do paid campaigns with you. Key opinion leaders, not necessarily. If a key opinion leader is loving your product, they're going to tweet on it. I come from like luxury fashion marketing. So I've worked with like influencers or actors that are going to awards and stuff, and whether they wear a piece or not, it's not necessarily paid. They love the designers they're wearing, and that's how they're getting promotion. So you need to get on key opinion leaders radar. I feel this panel is getting all about Emily because I'm going to give another example. So we should have retitled it. But you tweet a lot about Kaito, and I doubt Kaito pays you. You just love what they're doing, and you tweet
They
on it.
should give us for free.
Right? They should. They should. All right. So I want to say it's just like what you said.
Yeah, yeah,
You
you're
need
right.
to provide the value, and then in Web3, you often feel like you reach out to someone, you pay them, and they will talk about this. Whereas, and maybe it's because such a new industry. Because in other industries, you often like give influencers a tryout of your product, and even then you pay them, but then they might say,
Yeah.
"I don't like it. I don't want to promote
Yeah.
it." Or they might completely like crush it on their social media or whatever because they hate your product. So
Yeah,
it should always be product driven. And then the KOLs
I
will come.
agree, and that's why I was.
No, yeah, I agree with everything you said here, and also agree that Emily is a true KOL. But no, I've also seen occasions where B2C KOLs have used products for free just because they really like their product and have spoken about, they've made a thread about it, or like, this is how I do research, or something like that. So I think it goes back to product, and if the product is good enough, then people will just shout about it for free, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree because I think this is what we're forgetting about is that KOL space is also evolving. Like if it used to be directly like pay per play before, now it's kind of like KOLs are kind of like your VCs or the extension of your team even. So they're also not too interested in money. In most cases, they're more interested in like expanding their network, expanding their brand visibility, boosting the credibility also through working with your project. So it's not like strictly you pay them and you get a KOL on board.
Just to add to that as well, that just came to mind is people should start looking at KOLs just not as a transactional relationship and actually building a relationship with that KOL. So, like a good thing to do with KOLs is if you work with a KOL, then invite them to your events, invite them to like special things, like actually build upon that relationship, just like you would build any other business relationship.
So, next question. At IC, we are an agency, so we see a lot of different clients, and usually we work often with the TGE launches, etc. So, most of these clients ask us about KOL round, meaning a list of random, basically KOLs to tweet about their launch. Do you think this is an effective strategy specifically for TGE or in general, or it depends? What do you think about it? Or do you think it's always better to work with 4 or 5 really interested KOLs that you build a relationship with?
I, I think there are two challenges in the middle. The first one of them is that it's very difficult today for brands to know who are the KOLs that are speaking to their audiences. This is one of the parts that we're building, for instance, about being able to look at wallet owners, match them to social profiles, and see who affects these social profiles. So you can even start with building a strategy. If you want to know more about that, search my Twitter. You'd find a GIF for how we do that. The second thing is that unlike ads, it's not that any influencer or KOL that you would want to pay will take your money. So even if you have a list of like the top 10 that you would want to tweet you, it doesn't mean that they're interested. So building a strategy altogether, I think it's a combination about knowing who's a good fit and then managing negotiation and settlement around that to build a good and profitable strategy.
I think definitely it doesn't make sense to like blast out to everyone because in any case you would want your KOLs to be aligned with your brand. But at the same time, TG is very different from the rest of your marketing, right? You kind of want more brand awareness and you want more people to know about your product. So I would generally advise to work with like 3 to 5 KOLs on rotation if your product is existing already for some time and you need more boost, you need like more people to talk about it, more users on board. But then when it comes to TG, try to find people who are well aligned with your brand, but at the same time, like try to kind of spread out your influence and I would say maybe test more.
If I can add up on this, because I was helping a project with a KOL brand in bull market, and KOL interest in bull market is huge. They all want tickets. They don't care about what your brand is doing. It's just that they can cheaply get in and then have a quick back. Um, and my findings were they provide very little value because they don't go, they don't study your project, they don't know what you do. They just say this token is going to make 100x. And if these KOLs are shilling like 5 tokens a day, like who's listening to them anymore? It's bots. It's bots that are looking at their posts. So I agree with you, Xenia. Like a couple of good KOLs that appreciate your product are actually going to do more because KOL rounds you might just be wasting money unless you're doing a small KOL round for people
Just
who
for
actually yeah.
I agree. Okay, question about data that actually also came up from the slide. So, guys, if you have any question, you can scan this and write your questions. Is about analytics and data. So, how do you measure the effectiveness, the ROI on a KOL? Really, like besides the fake, results
Yeah.
that they show.
Well, it really does depend on the campaign that we're launching. So, for example, if it's like a TGE campaign, it's kind of impossible to accurately track whether someone brought volume unless you're using like tracking links or something like that. For user acquisition, if you use tracking links, obviously it's pretty easy to see how people convert. Um, but some of the tools that we use, for example, is Proto KOLs. They help visualize that basically. They help us select KOLs as well based on previous data. I'm sure Cookie 3 also does the same. I'd love to use it. And just looking, so for example, for TGE stuff, we look at when promotions went out and we look at any irregularities on volume. And
so in this way, you can also like also understand how good is the KOL before hiring it, right?
what was that? Sorry.
Before hiring a KOL, before choosing a KOL, you can use some of these
Yes.
metrics.
So before hiring them, obviously you need to make a data back decision, and tools like Cookie Free
Yeah.
for KOLs help with that decision for sure.
Or Kaito.
Or Kaito.
Again, ATV for free.
So I think there's a pre and a post metric, right? The pre is there's an influencer. Do I even want to start working with them, right? In which I think we've spoken about some analytics product that can help you evaluate the score of an influencer. I think Twitter score probably as well is probably one good one to look at. On the post, I think this is really important, and I think this is where a lot of marketers fail. The reason for that is typically when you go for ads or PR, it's a lot of time it's very clear that you pay for that. Nobody's feeling ashamed about that. Everybody goes freely around that. But with influencers, because you're paying someone in a way that nobody is seeing, you don't want to break the magic, right? You don't want to. I don't want to say a nasty word. You don't want to break the magic, right? So people rarely go for the tracking links, but it doesn't mean that there are no other ways to measure it. And please just measure it. So the two key things that I would go for, one is if you're able to provide a tracking link, it doesn't need to be a UTM, which obviously looks super cringy on Twitter. You can just refer people to some side page that is associated with this influencer. The key thing I would measure to avoid the bots is check the rate of visitors that have a wallet installed on their browser. This is taking out the bots immediately. Like if you see the rate goes anywhere above 20-30%, which we've seen that I published some studies about that, you know they're driving real crypto users. So this is one thing. If they're doing brand awareness and they're not referring people to the website, check out who's replying on the post. You need to see people that you recognize, that you care about, that you know are reputable. If you're seeing that, it's clearly not bots. These are the two things I would measure.
Very insightful.
And because you both talked about like direct measurement, something that I like to look at is like the echo effect, because social media are not ads. Like it's not a one-way channel, it's a two-way channel. And I want to see, after a KOL that I work with posts about it, I want to see their network also talking about the token, especially pre-TGE, because we all live on crypto Twitter and we care about what crypto Twitter is saying. Something that we provide in Cookie 3 Analytics, you can upload a list of KOLs that you're working with and then upload a list of keywords and tickers, and you can see that paid metrics and mindshare versus the organic one. So you can see if these KOLs talking about your token, about your project, is getting this echo. Because if you get this echo, then it's really buzzing and it's really working.
Yeah, I'm glad that Christina mentioned that because I think like we forgot the vibe check, right? So sometimes you cannot directly attribute some things. Or let's say if you're running a campaign, you'll probably do not just KOLs, you'll do a bunch of other activities. And it's super difficult to like single out that KOLs worked and this and that didn't work. But I think also another thing, I do like reference links, and I think that this is the best measure that we can get. But at the same time, there are lots of KOLs that don't want to use reference links, exactly as Asaf mentioned, because they don't want to break the magic. They want to make it look very organic for exactly, yeah, for their audience. So I think it's like still in our industry, and probably it's gonna last like that for a very long time. It's gonna be mostly the vibe check and mostly like looking at how it looks for their ecosystem. Because ideally, you want to get a KOL who will be like an extension of your team, who will drive BD to you, who will drive like their community to you. So you will like inevitably, if your KOL is good, you'll inevitably see it.
Okay, guys, I will make you some of the questions that came from the audience. Do you want a spicy one or no? The spicy one for the end. Okay. No. Now a serious one. So, what are the best ways to align incentives between projects and KOL. Them dumping your tokens day one isn't really aligned.
That's a good question.
Well, that also comes back to what I feel we've been saying as an answer to every question. Have a KOL that believes in your project. Because if a KOL believes that your token is going to go even higher, they're not going to dump on you. If they're looking to invest on preferential terms and then dump, they will do this.
There's obviously the trivial answers about give them a part of your token and give them skin in the game. I think one additional part that is really considered is tell them how you're measuring them and promise an upside if they're doing well.
Yeah.
So don't threaten to cut
Like
them
we
off.
did.
Yes. Yes. I appreciate that. There's a clear base, like speaking like Web2 sales. There's a clear base for everything that you're doing. This is how we're measuring you. If you're going to hit some specific goals, we're going to give you more of that. We're going to reflect how that's being measured.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mostly agree with everything that was said. The only thing that I don't agree with the last bit that you said is so most lower tier KOLs will definitely go for that. The higher ones, the ones that like I don't know, like everyone knows who Crypto Banter is or everyone knows who Coin Bureau is, because if they're that size, they're likely not to really vibe with that. But also I think it's about aligning with like your product as well, which we've already said, but don't use I don't know, like a privacy KOL for your DeFi protocol because like it won't make sense. And yes, they will dump because they're just not that interested. So yeah, that's what I would say.
I think it actually is a spicy question. It's not a serious one. Because there are two sides of the story, right? On one side, you want to get the KOLs that, for me, always the check is that I would see them as part of the community. So community is not going to dump on you on day one because they see much more upside than straight after the token is launched. But at the same time, I think it's important for us as marketers to understand that for KOLs, it's a job, right? We're expecting that we're going to be paid for our job, and this is the way they get their payment. So obviously they will cash out, but at the same time, you have to explain to them and you have to make it clear, I think, through your marketing, through your product roadmap, that this is not the end. This is like the mere beginning. So it's probably not just like aligned with KOLs. It's basically, it depends on everything else, on how you build your roadmap and how do you like project the vision of your product, the vision of your project to the outside ecosystem.
Okay. Then I will wait for the next question. But actually, guys, you can ask even more spicy. So I'm waiting. So next question. It's not from me. It's by me, the moderator. So let's talk about now from a KOL point of view. If we were KOLs, okay, let's try to think of as a KOL.
Emily, do you want to
Like
take it?
no. So in this space, it's hard because we live on hype, how can a KOL stay relevant, and how can a KOL stay like close to his or her community without losing the vibes and the spicy.
I think just simply being authentic because there is a lot of focus now on founder led communications. Founders became the next KOLs, like your team members are the homegrown KOLs. So basically, all of us, we're probably all on Twitter, we're all on different other social media, and we have people who are our friends who are following us, but we also have other people whom we don't even know them, that they're interested in our ideas, our opinions. What do we do? So how did we get it? By just simply showcasing the way we live, the way we think, like everything that we're doing on a daily basis. So I think um, it applies to KOLs as well. Just be authentic, be yourself, and you'll eventually find your tribe.
I'll find it. I definitely agree with that. I think being authentic and making sure that you provide that consistent value that got you to that place to begin with And like I understand that they need to follow trends and hypes because obviously they bring attention, but just like try to not steer too much away from that. A good example here is there was a gaming KOL, I forgot his name, but basically he was a well-known name in the Web3 gaming space, and then the Web3 gaming niche obviously didn't do so well. And he wasn't probably getting a ton of deals, and then he just completely pivoted to something else. Now I understand the pivot, but the way he did it was just yeah, people were just giving him a lot of sorry for swearing, but a lot of shit. So yeah, just be authentic to what you build basically.
I think in addition to authenticity, a lot of people underappreciate how difficult it is to create quality content.
Yeah,
If you're
I agree.
investing time in creating quality content, even if your number of followers today
Yeah,
is not as big, you're definitely going to
yeah,
skyrocket that because a lot of KOLs, as they're getting bigger, it's getting more difficult to be creative. But it's the same thing
yeah,
with art. And as long as you invest in finding creative ways to create quality content, and I can give another example. The format of Let Me Roast Your Marketing, which was something
yeah,
like
yeah. I agree.
new format, super interesting, people jumping like on the same day. This is
Yeah,
quality
yeah.
content,
That's
and this always cuts through the
for
noise.
yeah. It works. Yeah.
100% agree with all what you said, authenticity. And yeah, the roast was great. And something I want to see more influencers and KOLs doing is this sort of quality content rather than saying, look at this product's
Use
great,
it.
or
Demo.
use it.
Yeah.
Or even like if you look, at other industries, influencers, like they rarely do like reviews or show or
Yeah.
promote something. They use it, or if it's like a lifestyle influencer, they will like take, I don't know, a run with them and do a video when they're using it. So if you're a Web3 influencer and
You
you're,
should.
I don't know, doing a video about or talking about the trades I made like that week, and then you can mention a product, for example, oh, I'm using analytics to track this and that, or I'm using like Cookie 3 for this, or I'm using, you mentioned protocols for KOL. So, you know, that's the way to sort of drop it rather than promote it.
I agree, and unfortunately, as of today, in my opinion, we are not there. Like we are really not there. And when we mention KOLs, unfortunately, 90%. 85% of the people are people who just tweet or like comment in a video without doing anything and not dropping the product into their day by day life. But not it doesn't have to be necessarily in the day by day life, but at least use it and demo how you use it. This is something that we also heard in the panel before. It's a storytelling. If you're not telling me a story, I mean, also if you are a KOL, what do I don't get anything.
But
Yeah.
we will get there because these
Yeah.
guys are going to get cancelled
I,
because
I
no one is going to
yeah.
follow them. So it's going to get better. Like,
This is
we're
the
on it.
future. They are going to be kicked off.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I also think working with KOLs every single day, sometimes obviously they can be a bit of a pain, but the actual KOL space is crowded on the personality front. But actual people who provide genuine value, the bar is really, really, really low. So you can become a KOL yourself, is what I'm trying to say.
I disagree with that. With the last statement, I think that I notice a lot of founders speaking about what's so difficult about putting some tweets and gaining some attention and doing that. What am I paying so much more for? If you're thinking that and you're in the audience, try it yourself. It's incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
It's incredibly difficult. Do it yourself, then you'll appreciate it, then you'll be willing to pay for that.
Yeah, exactly. Like on a positive note, I think we saw this like bad trends simply because they were founders doing marketing. Now, while we have so many marketing events here, so it's obvious that we have more and more quality marketers in this space. We all understand what are the KOLs and what they're supposed to do. So I'm hoping that this is going to change as well.
Okay, guys, my connection is broken, so I don't see the question from the public anymore. But I remember that one was the answer can be just yes or no. KOS yes or KOS no?
Good quality KOLs that we spoke about,
No,
yes.
no. I said yes or no. Please.
KOLs, yes.
Okay.
Schillers, no.
No. It was. Go.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm biased because I have a
Yeah.
KOL. See? But yes.
I'll answer cheekily because my favorite answer in crypto marketing is like yes and no. It really depends. I'm very bad at choosing, so it's yes and no. Depends on the case.
That's true. It depends all the time. But I also agree with, actually, I agree with yes to KOLs, true KOLs, and no to chillers. So we need to, I think, move a bit away from this situation. But we are moving thanks to projects like Cookie 3 as well, and address like projects that allow us to understand who is like we how this channel is actually working for the products and now another
Yeah, I was gonna say these guys are content because before these guys existed, I was still doing KOL marketing, and it was the wild west. Honestly, it was
Yeah.
insane. So thank you.
So last question I would say guys and girls is another spicy one. Who is your favorite KOL? It can also be outside of Web3, yeah?
Can I say Emily?
Of course.
I have a okay, so it's outside of Web3. I follow a comedian called Andrew Schultz, and the way he promotes products on his podcast is just so he's a comedian, and he adds it's basically a comedy skit every single time he promotes a product, and like I've converted on a few just purely based on how he promotes the product. So yeah, Andrew Schultz.
I would also say Emily, right? I'm always looking for people who are not bias builders that are speaking about the importance of data in crypto. These are the people I look up to. I think these people are doing lots of justice to the industry, taking it from the niche, immature industry that it is today towards something that has so much promise and potential.
I love you, Emily, but I'm gonna say Alex on Chain because I feel like he's the marketing OG. He does a lot of like marketing stuff, but also lifestyle content, and it's so good because he's got his like Pudgy NFT, and I see his traveling pictures, and I imagine him as the Pudgy penguin traveling. So like that's so good.
Honestly, I can't even pick one except for Emily. But there's so many, even with like Web3 marketing. And I think what's amazing is that each of them has their own niche. But for marketing and Web3, I'm following Claire, I'm following Andrew, I'm following Jane for AI content. I'm following so many people actually that are providing incredible content in their respective niches. And it's always something interesting. And what I also enjoy is that I think in our industry with the inclusion of founder-led marketing, we started sharing much more about our lifestyle, which is also interesting because I want to see what people are doing. I kind of like lurking. So it comes from like traditional blogging. And I think it's very fun because you want to connect to people and it's way easier to connect to people on a personal basis.
Yeah. Good. Yes. No. Outside Web3. Donald Trump. Trump? No, my favorite KOL in Web3 is I like the Fi Dead a lot because he's in there in the spaces forever and in his niche he has always worked only with projects that he likes. Otherwise he say no. Like he doesn't even answer to your message. So and when he like engage with the project that he use, for example, with Summerfy, where I used to be leading marketing, I chased him like for years. And after 3 years, he came up, oh, actually, I like your product. It's awesome, but it's connected to make a DAO team. Yeah. And so finally we got, but this means that you really like want to study the project, try the project, and then like the project, and then get paid to talk about the project deeply, you know. So yeah, I like it for that. Okay, thank you guys. It was amazing. Thank you for listening to us. I'm just lagged, so maybe I was not super professional, but still.